Hello and welcome everyone to day 2 of the Attract, Nourish, and Convert Challenge. My name is Avita and I'm the dietitian at That Clean Life and your host for this free 3-day challenge. During this challenge, you will develop a plan for how to attract your ideal clients, nourish your leads, and convert them into paying clients. Each challenge day will have one live class with a highly qualified business expert. Ashley Sauvé joined us yesterday. We have Heather Neal, registered dietitian at Dietitian HQ today. And tomorrow, Krista will be live. A worksheet assignment to help you implement what you learn will be sent to you after each live class, as well as done for you content, such as meal plans and recipe collections that you can actually use to put the strategies into action right away. The classes will be 30 minutes in length and packed with actionable strategies. Please note that these classes are recorded and the replay, along with the worksheet assignment and done for you content, will be sent to you after the live class. This is also your chance to get live business coaching. So please open up the chat box, turn your settings to everyone, and say hello to us and each other. Let us know who you are, and let us know whether you're new to the challenge or you joined us yesterday, maybe caught the replay of yesterday's session. And some housekeeping as we go through the class today. If you have any questions about the class content or for our speaker, Heather, please drop them into the Q&A box. So really important, your questions need to go into the Q&A box so that I don't miss them. We are going to get to those questions at the end of the class today. And if you'd like to just chat with us or each other, that's where you can use the chat function. And while you drop your hellos into the chat, I see lots coming in already. I'm going to hand off the mic to Heather Neal from Dietitian HQ to introduce our second topic, Nourish Nutrition Leads. Thanks so much, Heather, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm glad that you are here. I am so glad to be here talking to you today. Just a quick little background. I am Heather Neal. I am the founder of Dietitian HQ, where I run the RD Entrepreneur Symposium and the Dietitian HQ Society, which is a mastermind group for dietitians. So my whole goal is to help dietitians run businesses that are successful, but feel really good for you and fit into your lifestyle. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will get started on today's topic.
That sounds fantastic. Also, happy Dietitian's Day to all of my fellow Canadian RDs. I know it was Dietitian's Day in the US last week.
Ah, that's perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about nourishing your nutrition leads, and we're going to talk about through email marketing and a growth strategy. So some of what we'll cover is talking about why you should focus on growing your list, how to stay top of mind for the leads that are on your list, and how to nourish those leads. So first up, why does your list matter? Why are we talking about this? There's a couple reasons, starting with it's not algorithm dependent. So if you think about some social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, you don't own your followers on that list. You don't have control of them. If they were to one day decide we're not going to run this anymore, then poof, that following would just disappear. And if you've ever, let's say you've been on Instagram, you've probably at some point run into a little bit of a struggle trying to get your stuff shown to people and having people see all of the things that you are posting. So that is going to be different with an email list. You're not worrying about like what's getting shown where. It's more about getting them the email and having them open it. Then it can be segmented and specific. And this is probably one of my favorite things about an email list is that you can group portions of your list together based on anything you want. So audience, what they've raised their hand to be interested in, a certain topic, a certain event, a certain type of program, and you can send them information that is relevant to them and to that group. So instead of just like fire hosing them with a whole bunch of information, hoping they might be interested in one thing here and there, you can get really specific with it. And then this is really important. Not everyone is going to buy right away. And that's where your email list comes in handy. If somebody just sees a post that you did on Facebook, or let's say they even walked by a flyer that you hung in a coffee shop, and they think that it's really neat and it sounds interesting, but they're not ready for your services or your program right then, they've basically walked away, and you don't have a way to go back and get them and be like, hey, are you ready now? But with an email list, that's exactly what you can do. Okay, so in yesterday's session, you guys talked about building a lead magnet to attract people. And that's a fantastic way to build your list. So it's like, okay, you've got the lead magnet part down. Now what? So 3 things are going to happen. 1, you're going to give them that freebie. You're going to deliver the lead magnet to them. Then you are going to send a short welcome series or freebie series related to that freebie. And then after that, you're going to switch into the nurturing phase. And I'll cover each of these in depth as we go through. Okay, so let's start with the lead magnet series. This is specifically what happens when you deliver that lead magnet. So first, you're going to deliver the lead magnet, and then you're going to send a series of 1 to 3 emails. And this is delivering the lead magnet, introducing them to the topic, and giving them some more information. So this could look like on day 1, you deliver the lead magnet. So you're going to use your email platform to do this. You create a form, they fill out the form, and then they get to a thank you page. And you can either deliver the lead magnet on that thank you page, or you can send them an email that says, okay, here's your lead magnet. You're going to send that email automatically through your email service provider. So this is great. Things are just happening in the background once you've set them up. And you're going to send them an email and it says, here's your freebie, nice and short and sweet, but delivering that to them. Then you're going to follow up with that 1 to 3 email series that I mentioned. I like to do this on day 2, day 3, and then somewhere between day 4 and 6. And again, it depends how many emails you decide to send, but that's kind of the pattern that I like to follow. And these emails are going to be a series of relationship building emails. So you want them to support the lead magnet. You want them to be directly related to the thing that they raised their hand for. So they were interested in this lead magnet. They said, I'm interested in this. And then you're going to send supporting information. You're not going to just randomly start talking about some other topic. These are also going to introduce you and your business. So this is the time where you let them get familiar with you as the business owner. Let them see your face, get to know you. Not just like another random business on the internet, and let them get to know your business a little bit better. And then you're going to be providing value and building a relationship with them. So this is just a quick example. I know you can't like read the text on these, but this is just an example of how it looks in my back end. And it will look a little bit different depending on what your email service provider is. But you can see on day 1, they have signed up for a free resource and the email is delivering. So you can see it's nice and short. It's a link to the resource and saying what it is. Then follow up with a little bit more information about the same topic. Then email number 3, I sent some more free resources. So on the same topic, but different resources. And then on it's my day 5, I send a little bit more information about me and the behind the business kind of things. So let's talk a little bit more about other things that you can send in these emails. So this could be things like, who the heck are you? Like I said, especially when somebody's downloading something from the internet, it's so easy to kind of get like lost in the shuffle and maybe not remember necessarily what website it came from or what you were looking at. So this is a way to differentiate yourself and remind them who you are and why to choose you. You're going to let them know who you help, who you work with. So who do you serve? How can they apply or use the information that was in the lead magnet? So let's say you gave them a meal plan, then maybe some of your supporting emails are, well, how can they apply that meal plan to their daily life? So maybe some like meal planning tips and what it looks like for them. So how can they get the most out of this free resource that you've given them? This could also be some follow-up information going more in depth on the topic and things like that. These emails could also include maybe some popular blog posts that you have. So if you already have these these blog posts on your website, you've already done the work and written them and have them there, it doesn't mean that they've read them. So you could share some that are related to that lead magnet, some that are really relevant and useful. Or if you have some other resources, again, that are related, same kind of topic or addressing the same problem, you could also send those. And then again, you want to let them know how they can work with you. How can they work with you, hire you, buy from you? If you're not asking them to buy your book, they're not going to. So this is a chance you provide this value and then you ask them to make the purchase. So depending on what your offer is, this is where you want to go ahead and ask them to. I tend to do this in the last email in the series, but there's not a specific rhyme or reason. I like to let them get to know you a little bit and then make that ask, but it is important that you do that. But overall, the objective that you want to keep in mind for this series is to make them like you and provide value. So it's setting yourself apart, making them know that you understand what they're going through and that you are ready to help them with your service or your product. Okay, so then what happens after you do this lead magnet series? One of two things. One, they'll buy. That's great. Fantastic. That's wonderful. Or they'll sign up for your services or whatever it is. Two, the other thing that can happen, they won't buy. And that is absolutely okay. So let's talk about some of the reasons why people don't buy. Maybe it wasn't the right fit. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe the problem wasn't urgent or bad enough yet. Or maybe they're not financially prepared. I know sometimes finances can get wrapped up and disguised as a different excuse, but sometimes that truly is the reason, is that they were not ready to make a purchase. So when people don't buy, your job is to show them that you are a good fit or not. And I think that's just as important as showing you're a good fit, because you don't want to work with somebody that's not a good fit for you. It's not going to be a good experience for either of you. You're not going to get them the results that they want. Same thing with a product. If they weren't a good fit for it, then that can reflect negatively on the product or the program when it wasn't a problem with the product or program or service. It just wasn't the right fit. So I think those are both equally important. It's not that you're trying to make everybody buy from you. It's that you are serving the people that are a good fit to work with you. Next, to be there when it's the right time. So maybe it wasn't the right time when they downloaded that lead magnet, but maybe a couple weeks or a couple months later, it is. So your job is still to be relevant and top of mind. It's your job to be there when the problem is bad enough for them to be ready for that solution and to need a solution. And that's where you step in with your service. And it's your job to be there when they're financially ready or provide alternative offers. So maybe they saw the price of your program and they needed to wait until they were ready to use their funds in that way. Or maybe they are not going to make that decision, but you have a different offer for them. So maybe you had a higher price signature service or program that they are not going to make that commitment to, but you also have a self-paced course or an ebook or a lower priced service that would be a good fit for them. So it's to provide them with the opportunity for that. Okay, so you have the people on your email list and they haven't bought. This is where we transition into nourishing those leads. So this is when you're going to send the nurture series. And this is what you would think of with an email newsletter or an email series. Now, a lot of people have a lot of questions about what is the best frequency to send an email series or an email newsletter. And my preference is it is whatever you can commit to. So whether that is weekly, biweekly, monthly, it is what can you commit to with consistency, because I don't want you to send an email 3 weeks in a row and then get caught up in things and you don't send another one for 3 months. So just really truly evaluate what you can commit to, and that is the frequency that I suggest going with. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can either write this series regularly. So let's say every Monday you write and send an email, and you send that whole email to your whole list or the segment that it makes sense to send it to. Or you can create a series automation. So you can write a series of emails and put it into your email system as an automation, kind of similar to when you delivered your lead magnet. And then they are sent everybody is sent the same emails in the same order, but it depends when they sign up and join your list, when they get that email. So this wouldn't work for things that are time sensitive, but if it's talking about any of these topics that we're about to talk about in a minute, then it still makes sense and is relevant. So again, the types of things that you're going to talk about in these nurture emails. You can tell a personal story. This is particularly good if you can relate to your ideal client. So were you there? Have you been there? You could tell a client story. So not everybody has been their ideal client, but you've worked with people and you can share their story. And it's fine to share it anonymously, just to give it a little bit more personal touch about what you do. You could share a testimonial. You can share something relatable. So this falls into getting people to like you and trust you, is letting them know that you understand what they're going through or what their problem is. You could share what's news, like what's going on in the world related to what your topic is, or what is going on new in your business. Maybe you've introduced a new service or program. You could share some research. So ideally making it a little bit more digestible and fun to read. But if there's some new research in your area, you could share some recipes. You can share myth busters. I love those. So taking like a common belief in your area and telling them why it's not true, or showing them why it's not true. So like a really common one for dietitians here is like why you can't survive on 1,200 calories forever, or why fat isn't bad, like things like that. So something very specific to your area, and then tell people why it's not true. Again, you can share blog posts. So again, if you already written things and you have them on your website, then make them work for you even more than them just happening to find it. So this could be pointing them towards old blog posts, giving a little small description and then pointing them to the blog post. Or this could be if you publish something new, then you can share it with your list as well. You could do a resource library. So if you have several different resources, lead magnets, freebies, things like that, you can put them all together and direct them to that so that they can see more of that information. You could send a sample meal plan. And again, every once in a while, you want to ask them to buy again. So you're not just sitting there hoping that they'll remember that you offer a service or a product or a program. You want to be intentional about asking them. And then, so what we've talked about so far with this email series is, yes, you need to write the emails, but it is a fairly passive strategy for building those relationships. So you're writing them and you're sending them, and it's kind of going on behind the scenes in the background. But there are sometimes in your nurture series where you can be a little bit more active. So examples of that would be offering a free workshop. So maybe you're inviting them to a class or a webinar that you're going to host, and you're going to teach a little bit about what it is that you do. So you take a small portion of the topic that you teach or what you work with on clients, and you share it for free in a workshop. And then after that workshop, you are inviting them to join the program or sign up to work with you. You could host a challenge. So you could say, for these 3 days, we're going to cover X, Y, and Z. It could be, we're going to do a 21-day challenge on this topic, and you're guiding them through it. So you can see it's a little bit more active with your involvement. You could send out a low-level offer. So like we talked about before with things with different price points. If you have different offers within your business, you could send those out in the series. And then you could periodically roll them into your launch sequence. So if you have a program or a product, or you can even do this with services as well. But if you have like a launch series that you would typically be using when you launch into something to sell something, you could put this into this nurture series here, where it's a little bit more intentional about selling things. And so that you just take a brief moment where that's what your focus is. And then you come back again. You'll have some people that buy and some won't. And then you return back to the relationship building value email series. Okay, so I crammed a big topic into like a really tiny little section. It's just to recap, you have the lead magnet that you talked about yesterday. So you deliver that freebie, and then you're going to send a short 1 to 3 email series specifically about that lead magnet and introducing them to you and your business. And then after that, you've asked them to buy. in that series. After that, you're going to continue to nurture them with those relationship building, get to know you emails, providing value. Okay, so I know we're going to get to some Q&A in just a minute, but thank you for listening to that. And if you have more questions afterwards, I'd love for you to ask them. You can come say hi. I'm Dietitian HQ on Instagram. And two ways that we can hang out a little bit more is one, I host the RD Entrepreneur Symposium. This is 29 experts come together and provide masterclasses for 30.5 CEUs. It's entirely online, and it actually happens to have early bird registration opening tomorrow. So it is hosted virtually beginning March 28th. That would be a great place to see you and get to learn a little bit more about all different kinds of business building skills for dietitians. Or I have a free class that you can watch. It's called How to 3X Your Income in 4 hours or less per day, because it is my passion to have a successful business that provides without interfering with family life and free time and all thing. I'm the mom of 2 kids, and that is really, really important to me. So I share just some of the details on how I make that work for me in that free class. So I will stop sharing my screen and go to some Q&A.
Yes, thanks so much, Heather. That was so fantastic. I love everything about creating that nurture email series list and making them like you, but also providing value. You gave also amazing ideas on what types of content to provide in that email series, because that's a huge question that we get. Before we head into our Q&A, let us know in the chat box. We have a question for you. What's your biggest takeaway from today's class with Heather? You can let us know in the chat. And while you answer that, I want to say thank you to everyone for attending live, or if you're watching the replay, thanks for sticking around. We will be sending the recording, the worksheet assignment. The worksheet assignment is going to have you help you brainstorm how you want to plan your lead magnet email series, how you want to plan your newsletter or nurture email series, or any bonus nurture actions like the free workshop or hosting a challenge that Heather mentioned. So keep an eye out for that in your email. And we will also send you 3 sample meal plan and recipe collections that you can use either in an email series, in a free challenge, or in a workshop. And we hope that you can also join us tomorrow for our final day of the challenge. So that's it for our class portion. If you can't stay for the Q&A, you can always send us an email at hello@thatcleanlife.com.